hand protection. This is hand protection. This actually came from an earlier Scottish heritage of raiding, where they'd be riding on ponies and sword fighting with an earlier type of sword, a mortuary hilt sword, so they could cut off the back of their horses with their hands still being protected. This tradition continued into the 1700s, and every Highlander, at least in the 1740s and mid-1700s, would have a basket-hilted broadsword in addition to their musket and bayonet. And frequently, they would also have this. This is a shield called a target, which we colloquially call the targe, as in that's apparently what the Scots called it. This is a very high-quality replica. I really like this. What we have is a hand-hammered central brass boss, as it's called, with the decorative brass rivets. This is based on an original in the London Armory. We also have roe deer pelt on the inside, which is great because if I'm fighting and someone hits my shield, it's soft, it's cushy, it's like I got a stuffed animal back here, it's great. So the Scots, back to their Highland regiment, would get within 50 yards of their enemy, fire their musket, drop their musket, and pull out their shield, their back sword, and charge at them. Now, by the way, if I said earlier 30 seconds is about how long a musket takes to reload, challenge, how far can you run in 30 seconds? Especially when you're hopped up on adrenaline. Very far, very far. So before the enemy has a chance to even reload their guns, they've got a Scot right in their face. The targe is made up of laminated alternating planks of wood. You can't see it on this, trust me. But it will catch a thrusting bayonet very easily, deflect it, and by the time the musketeer has a chance to draw back for another stab, they have a backsword in their head. Haha. Now the thing is, the Scots never really prided themselves on following commands perfectly. In fact, it's very not Scottish. So as the Scots charged towards the enemy, they would not stay in their formation, they would bunch up. So on this side of the line, there's a couple Scotsmen. On this side of the line, there's a couple Scotsmen. But right in the middle, there's a mob of Scotsmen. And they're all pushing the guy ahead of them to push him forward. So you only have about a half a second to catch that bayonet and stab before the rest of your guys push you through the ranks. By doing that, they have broken their enemy lines. They break through to the back, they surround them on the back, they surround them on the front, on both sides, and that has broken the enemy linear infantry formation. Those soldiers now start going, gosh, I miss my family, I miss my home, and they either turn tail and run or surrender. And so the Scots, even though they were part of the British Army, the Brits really focused on following those formations and being very linear and rigid. Unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but because the Scots were not rigid, they got a lot of flack by the main English army, kind of condemnation. So we actually have surviving treatises by Scottish soldiers trying to support the Scots as a military unit to the rest of the British and kind of describing things like the Highland Charge and other ways why the Scots are successful and positive on the battlefield. I think that's kind of cool, personally. I really like that.